Test match. India have won the series. They're going to get back for two. India at home. Lords goes.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the 81 All Out podcast. This is your host Siddhartha Vaidyanathan, and I'm joined today by two regulars, Ashoka and Kartikeya. Kartikeya, who is at Cricketing View on X and writes a Substack and columns for ESPN Cricinfo and other outlets. Ashoka, who is, I think, on Reddit as I don't know who, maybe as Ashoka. We're here to talk about the fourth test between Australia and India at Melbourne. Australia won by 184 runs, a match that went on till the final session on day 5, which, depending on the way you look at it, either Australia took too long to win or India lost after having a great chance to draw it. These are fine margins that could have gone either way, I'm imagining, with a bit of good fortune here and there, or a bit of, a few wickets here and there. Australia batted first, won the toss, chose to bat, scored 474. Debut for Sam Konstas, who made 60. Stephen Smith makes 140. Fantastic innings there. And then India are pretty much being carried by Jasprit Bumrah throughout the test. Magnificent bowling. I mean, we keep talking about Bumrah in this pod, and we wonder if he can, do anything better than what we've spoken about. And invariably, he seems to bowl that better spell in the very next game or the game after that. India batted, got to 369 thanks mainly to Nitish Kumar Reddy and Washington Sundar. Of course, not to forget Yashasvi Jaiswal making 82 at the top of the order. And then the second innings, I mean, Australia were always ahead of the game by now. It was the chances of them losing the game was very, very, very minuscule. Though Jasprit Bumrah's greatness did make it appear as if India had a chance. Even though that was probably a mirage, it just tells you what an absolutely great bowler he is and what he can do to open up a game which seemingly was closed long before that innings. India needed 340 to win in the final innings. I don't think they were ever going to get there. Rohit Sharma mentioned that they were going to go for the target. I think he was saying that a bit for the camera there. Would have been quite an astonishing chase if that had happened. Pitch was playing a bit up and down by then. But they did seem to give themselves a chance for a draw. Rishabh Pant and Jaiswal went through the second session without the loss of a wicket. But as it invariably happens, as it can happen on the final session of day 5, wickets start falling. And then it often is in a fast-forward mode. The test did get into a kind of a 1.5x mode on YouTube. And India all out for 155. Fantastic test match overall. Very entertaining to watch. And the crowd seemed to have broken all sorts of records at the MCG. Lots of Indian tourists who were there. Lots of Australians who watched this game. And I think on the last day, it was quite a sight to see a jam-packed stadium. And fine test match. Quality bowling throughout, fine batting. I mean, Nitish Reddy's 100 was great to watch, as was Stephen Smith's. And even Jaiswal, the couple of innings he played was great. Bowling, I spoke about Bumrah, but of course there was the Australian bowling, which was also a sight to behold. Pat Cummins, Stark, Lyon bowled well in the final innings. Anyway, lots of things to talk about. Ashoka, thoughts?
You mentioned everybody except the savior of Test cricket, Sam Konstas.
Oh, yeah, I did. He mentioned him in a bit, but I think we can talk about that mad start to that Test match.
Yeah. So So for the purposes of this series, I'm going to be a 40-over merchant. I'm going to call myself a 40-over merchant because I have viewed every test match in this series from the lens of what happens in the first 40 and what happens 41st over onwards, around that time. I generally see batting, it's consistent, man. It's remarkable how it plays out test after test in Australia. And that is a surprise for me. I mean, across conditions in Australia, the first 40 overs, when the ball is new, batting becomes like extremely tough. And once you cross that 40 overs, magically, players start, batters start feeling a little bit more comfortable. You see fields spreading out because the batters are no longer, struggling to connect the ball. Runs start flowing. So this is something that happens like clockwork and has happened like clockwork in the last four test matches. And this is a very important thing because this has influenced Indian selection a lot. What they are hedging on is that given the form Bumrah is in, and with the new ball, he will somehow dismantle half the Australian side with support from Siraj and Akash Deep. And then, if you restrict Australia for 230, you can have a long batting lineup which can weather the first 40 overs, and then you'll have batters once the ball is old. So this seems to be the thought process from the Indian side.
Where did you pull out this 230 from, by the way?
Like they did in the second innings, no?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because in the first 40 overs, Australia were 6 for 91.
Yeah.
So even if the tail wagged for a long time, the end was like they only got 234. So that was the ideal thing. That is what they would have hoped would happen in the first innings as well. But in the first innings, what happened in the first 40 overs, I read it in Cricinfo that India induced like 60 fall shots and got only 1 wicket. To add insult to that injury, Konstas started whacking Bumrah also, and he connected quite a few. So not only did they not pick up wickets, they also conceded runs. So it was kind of a double whammy for India on the first day. But essentially, their 11 was picked with this view, saying that, okay, let's hope that we win the toss. Even if we don't, let's hope that Bumrah and the other two bowlers get as many wickets as possible in the first 40. If we restrict Australia to, say, 230 to 270, then with our long batting lineup, even if our top order is blown away, we'll have like Nitish Kumar Reddy, Washington Sundar, and Jadeja coming at like 6, 7, 8. We have like a lot of insurance. So this is what they must have thought, because in the last part I was saying, I don't understand the value of 2 all-rounders, but this time they went with 3 all-rounders. They even dropped a pure batter Gill to accommodate an all-rounder. So the thought process is that, like, how can I extend the batting order to survive the first 40 overs? So, I mean, I know we, at least in this pod, keep saying they should have a pure bowler, the 4th pacer, instead of this all-rounder business, because frankly, Washington Sundar plus Nitish Reddy doesn't give you that many wickets. They gave India 1 wicket out of 20 in this match. They are not getting much from this surface. Washington is a spinner, so asking him to take wickets on day 1 is like unfair. And Nitish Reddy doesn't bowl quick, man, or he doesn't, threaten much. He can't do much with the ball from whatever available evidence. All the best he can do is keep the batter quiet. So yeah, there is no much utility with those 2 guys. But they are picked for the reason that I mentioned. Like, let Bumrah and other 2 bowlers get lucky, and then you have a long batting lineup when it is your turn. You can make runs and get a lead, and then. But yeah, so this plan didn't work out because Australia were like 200 for 1 or 2 in the first 60 overs. Then somehow again, Bumrah is like magical, man. Like he again got India back.
I feel coming to that, I feel like this Konstas selection itself and the diktat he's been given was a direct reaction to Jasprit Bumrah from Australia. I mean, it was basically like saying, okay, we doff our hats to Jasprit Bumrah. Now we're going to pick this guy and we're going to throw the kitchen sink at him and hope that it comes off. And
it's not a bad plan because Warner, if Warner was there, that's what he would have also done. No, the other thing also that didn't work for India is that I think Siraj had his worst outing in the first innings in terms of, he couldn't control runs and he couldn't take any wickets. He gave some 100 odd runs in 22 overs or 23 overs, 110 runs. So he couldn't do much. And in the beginning of the second day, Akash Deep was also, I think that was his worst bowling performance on, after 311 for 6, he also went searching for wickets and gave up a lot of runs. So that in itself finished the match. Actually, 474, you are not going to come back from there. But things went India's way after that, actually, because after that 474, what India designed their squad to be actually, functioned that way. The top order somehow weathered their first 40 overs. If Jaiswal had not been run out, they would have even scored more. But whatever. By the time the ball was soft and all that, Washington Sundar and Nitish Reddy came to bat, and then they batted a long while and tired the Aussie bowler. So that also happened. And in the second innings, things went exactly India's way, right? What they planned for happened. Like in the first 40 overs, they took 6 wickets for 90. 35 overs itself, they took 6 for 90. And after that, they couldn't get the next 40 overs, they couldn't get much. It's understandable why they do this, but it's also fair to question, should they do this? That is, hedge for batting all the time.
They can drop whoever they want in the batting. It's not going to change the result. No, it's not going to make India more or less likely to win. India tried the same thing 4 times now. It's worked once and it hasn't worked 3 times. One of them, they were saved by the rain. In the other 2, they were not. Which is pretty much, how often you would expect something like this to work. Because the Australians are better in their conditions. Australian fast bowlers are used to bowling in Australia. They have a better understanding of the length. They have better understanding of the line. They have better understanding of how much the bounce is. Scott Boland has 118 wickets at the MCG in the first class cricket. That's at one ground. And he's playing a test match over there. So it's not a surprise that when he comes to play a test match for Australia as a very experienced fast bowler in his 30s, he does well. So it's like India picking an experienced spinner, in India. They're going to do well. Australia were lucky in this match. They were definitely luckier than India. They took a lot of chances and they came off. The Konstas thing is basically, I think Australia felt that, McSweeney, as dogged as he was on a hiding to nothing against Bumrah. That there was basically no future in McSweeney playing the way he does. How much worse could Konstas be? That was the theory. If he gets out, you're no worse than you were with McSweeney. But this was also a slightly better wicket. I don't think it was as quick as the first 3. The Perth and Brisbane were probably quicker than this one. And Adelaide, the pink ball does more than the red ball. So, but this was a much kinder wicket for the batters. And there are periods in this test match when it was good batting condition. But Australia won a very good toss, and it was a very good toss to win for 2 reasons. One is they got to bowl 4th, and the second is India played 2 spinners. So that meant that once India had to bowl first, playing 2 spinners, which was basically a hole. India, if you design your side to win in exactly 1 or 2 ways, then if those don't come about, you're in trouble. And that's why playing enough bowling for the conditions is the safer option, in a sense. Because it covers your bases that much more. I mean, there's nothing in this wicket for Reddy or for the spinners in the first innings. I looked at it. I mean, Nathan Lyon bowls 18 out of 80 overs in Australia in the first innings of matches. He collects on average 1 for 52. He's not doing anything in the first innings of Test match. He has 538 Test wickets now. And he bowls half his Test matches in Australia. And in those first innings of the Test match, he's taking 1 for 52 in 18 overs out of the first 80. So there's nothing for him to do. I mean, Ashwin, basically, Nathan Lyon achieved what basically Ashwin achieved in what was it, Adelaide. He bowled 17 overs, 1 for 53, basically, isn't it? In his last Test match in the first inning. So, and Nathan Lyon bowled 1 over in that match. So there's nothing for the spinner. Any fast bowler is going to be more threatening than a spinner here. Any fast bowler who is good enough to make the India Test squad is going to be more threatening than the spinner. If not, then there's something wrong. So I don't think it has the way India are playing has anything to do with them not trusting Akash Deep or Prasidh Krishna.
Sure. But what about, we spoke about this in the New Zealand, when New Zealand toured India, right? If a team that is touring a country feels they have very narrow path to victory, then they have to sort of play accordingly. I mean, they tend to hedge, and then they hope that the conditions favor them and the luck favors them, and then things go their way.
But the thing is, you see, New Zealand didn't come to India with 4 spinners and play only 2 of them. New Zealand came to India with 2 spinners, or 3 spinners. They brought Sodhi, but they never played it. Other than that, so that's genuine. It's genuinely the case with them that they don't have that many good spinners. Right.
They played 3 spinners, man. They didn't need Ravindra much, but Ravindra could
played
bowl.
Sodhi in the final test.
Yeah. But they played mainly Patel and Santner, And in the first test, they didn't need them, so they played Rourke, Henry, and what's his name, Southey.
That's what I'm saying. So in the first test, they got lucky with the conditions,
but
and
India
they made the most of it.
No, India is not like that. No, they have enough fast bowlers. They have enough spinners, and they take them. So why not play them? The point is, I think they're not playing them because they don't want to play 4 tailenders, and that's basically a matter of strategy. That's not a matter. That's just a matter of worldview more than strategy. I mean, there are some coaches who are willing to play 4 tailenders, and others who are not. I think Ravi Shastri and Rahul Dravid were both willing to play 4 tailenders. I mean, India played 4 tailenders in Australia, and it has worked. I mean, you look at the figures from 2018 to 2024. When India play 4 tailenders, when they play 4 fast bowlers who are picked mainly for their bowling, and that includes Thakur, because Thakur was basically dropped when his wickets dried up. So he was expected. He was there for taking wickets, and when he stopped taking wickets, he's not there anymore. Whereas Reddy and Washington Sundar and Jadeja and Ashwin in these conditions, they're not there to take wickets. So because there's nothing, they're basically as a hedge. They are. I mean, not. I mean that phrase has fallen into disrepute, but they are essentially bits and pieces contributors. No, I mean they're not good enough to play a specialist batsman.
How dare you say Jadeja is a bits and pieces?
They're not good enough to play as specialist bowlers. So what they do basically is that when the ball is old, they score a few runs.
But Karthikeya, like this 40 over Merchant just said, this has been that series, where you need people to make the most of the second half of the innings.
But that's also because you are then Washington Sundar and Jadeja and Reddy are also bowling for India between overs 40 and 80, a lot. So that is why Australia are averaging 40 or 45.
Yeah, so that is what India is choosing. India is choosing to score more in the second half. And,
I think it's basically a negative strategy. They're not chasing wickets because they are afraid to play 4 tailenders. And I mean, it's true. Australia are also playing 3 fast bowlers, and their 3 fast bowlers are better than India's 3 fast bowlers. taken as a group. They have much more experience, much more variety. They have one left arm. They're taller. They have all sorts of good. I mean, you are playing away. You have to be better. You have to overcome your away disadvantage as well. Over there, and really, I mean, some of this has to do with sort of being afraid of being 150 all out or 160 all out. But I don't think that it really matters. If I mean, it's not like they were anywhere close to saving this game. No, I mean, in Melbourne. I mean,
they were not even close to saving the game in Brisbane, man.
Yeah,
that also
they were close to saving the game, but I think that was a bit of a mirage.
Yeah, I mean, they're just done better than expected in the middle session.
They did better than expected, yeah.
So,
but Karthikeya, I want you to clarify this. I mean, you do acknowledge that Australia had more luck than India in this test. So, under different circumstances, this same attack could have done.
Yeah, they did. They did in Perth. I mean, if Bumrah gets wickets in this first, look, the way India is set up, they are not set up to apply sustained pressure. They are not set up to apply a sustained threat. So in the long run, they are going to lose more than they win with this against this Australia. But what they can do is have great spurts. I mean, essentially their strategy to win in this series has been Jasprit Bumrah, and or some bowler who has a spell where he takes 3 or 4 wickets.
No, they are flying without cover, man. See, I was looking at Siraj's record because he was getting some flack saying that he was not doing well. Outside of this 112 for no loss, his series has been really good, man.
Yeah, he has 14, 15 wickets in 4 test matches. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but see, that's the point. No, that one innings, he has no room for error. I mean, even in that one bad innings,
that's the thing. No, I mean, that's the other problem of not playing enough bowling. No, it gives you absolutely no margin of error. It gives you absolutely no cover at all.
As you have no cover for Akash Deep being that unlucky.
I mean, and it's a strange thing. No, people say, well, the batting needs shoring up, so let's play the extra batter. But they never say, well, the bowling needs shoring up, so let's play the extra bowler. So whereas, so there are 2 ways. No, I mean, one is like, for example, the way New Zealand won in India is basically they had one bowler, Mitchell Santner, who had a once in a lifetime test match in Pune. And in the other test match, it was Ajaz Patel who had a once in a lifetime test match, and in the first one it was Matt Henry who had a once in a lifetime test match. So it was basically one bowler who did the bulk of the work for them. But that's not how most test matches are won. No, most test matches are won by the deeper attack, the better attack. And like you need a lot of things to go right for you. You need you need to draw a lot of inside straights in succession to win the way India are trying to win, and that's not always going to happen. No, that's going to be the exception rather than the rule. The rule is going to be that the better bowling attack is going to win, and that's basically what's been happening. Because you're not always going to win a good toss. No, you're not always going to in 2020, 21 things went India's way. Like Australia. Some of their bowlers got injured at the wrong time, etc., etc. So, and that happens. That's completely fair. It's not really a. But you cannot expect that. No, that's not a strategy.
Yeah, but even this a bit of this pitch thing is also some we are analyzing in hindsight, right? So, what if they thought that the pitch is going to help the spinners more than it actually did? Then I think it's a fair call. They picked 5 bowlers. And,
history suggests that the recent pitches in Australia have not done that. I think that if they thought that was maybe optimistic,
I'll tell you something funny. Australia had 4 bowlers, of which Stark's figure in this match is 1 for 101. which is which is not great. But they just needed 3 people: Boland, Lyon, and Cummins to finish.
Yeah, but I mean, Stark is a little bit like Siraj, no? I mean, he if there's an odd pace in the pitch, then he has a little bit of problem.
I think their stats for this series are also somewhat similar only, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're both taking wickets at 30. So 29, 30, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. So basically, India are struggling to overcome Cummins and Hazelwood / Boland.
Great Australian team, man. Come on, it's not like they're losing to an ordinary side.
Yeah. I'm saying it's
a fantastic Australian side.
Australia is also technically playing only 4 bowlers. I don't think Mitchell Marsh is having much to do in this.
If India had, let's say, if India had Ishant, firing Ishant at 300 wickets, Ishant V2 at 300 wickets, Shami, Bumrah, and then that's it. Then it's kind of okay. India have Bumrah, Siraj, who's a good bowler, but now I think the problem with Siraj in this series is the team is expecting him to do defense as well. I don't think he has done that. He's a defensive bowler. He's complete all-out attack bowler. And I think to an extent even, Akash Deep is like that.
I don't know about that. I mean, he has to try to get wickets. I mean, he can't be you cannot play only 3 fast bowlers and then have some of them not chase wickets. They have to chase wickets. I mean, they have been unlucky. I mean, Akash Deep has beat the bat more than any other fast bowler on either side more often. And he has not got very.
Akash Deep has been magnificent. I think.
Yeah,
he's sort of every time he bowls, I'm like, he should have been playing from Test 1. That's how good he has been.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, the wickets don't show that. But yeah,
I think basically, if you ask me, I think I would have played 4 quicks and Jadeja in all 4 Test matches. Because you see, there are sort of all these second order effects. No, I mean, if you play 4 quicks, then you can give it's easier to rotate your fast bowlers. It's easier to give your bowlers a breather. It's also extends the amount of time that the Australians have to sort of see or keep seeing off threatening overs.
And as you were saying, if Australians score less because of the extra bowler, they will also attack for a limited time. They will also spread the field.
They won't have runs to play with. No, I mean that.
Okay, so let's take an example. So Australia scored 474 in this test. So with an extra bowler, let's say Prasidh playing and Washington Sundar not playing, what? It's 400? Is that a reasonable thing?
250, 300. I mean, the ball was doing
that much of a difference?
It could be. I mean, you don't know. I mean, look, the fast bowlers beat the bat 130 times in their 77 overs in that first innings. The other 3 beat the bat 27 times in 45 overs. That's the difference in jeopardy. Okay, even if Prasidh Krishna is like 80% of Akash Deep, he's still going to beat the bat about 1.2 times an over, which is still nearly double of what the spinners are managing. Now at some point that sustained jeopardy will start telling. The basic idea is that you have to have bowling which can threaten, and on these pitches that means fast bowling. There's no other. Or if you have Shane Warne, fine, but there's been one Shane Warne in 80 years, 100 years. That's not a.
But what if India played more batting to extend the game? Like there is also this whole idea of needing to extend the game.
They did. Day 5, last 12 balls, 12 overs. They did.
Come on, these test matches are getting over in 4 days. How much more are they going to extend the game?
No, they did extend the game here.
Yeah, but how much? I mean, there's still a whole day and 4 more sessions.
And what is the point of extending the game, man? The best result you could hope for at the end of day 5 was a draw.
Yeah. like hanging on for a draw. They have to
So
win.
what? You need
but
WTC
a
points,
draw-
no?
No, but a draw, you
Yeah,
are...
draw here. Let's say a draw here and a win in Sydney. That was the most optimistic case on day 5, no?
Yeah.
Well, but then
Yeah.
look. Here's the thing.
Australia
If
could
they
still
really want to
win,
do
no?
that,
And-
if they really want to do that, no. If they really want to play for a draw, then play for a draw properly, no. Then play two fast bowlers and Jadeja and Washington Sundar and Nitish Kumar Reddy and Rishabh Pant and 6 batsmen. Then do that. That would properly extend the game. I mean, this is neither here nor there. I mean, if they really wanted to do that, they could have.
So you're saying they play Gill ahead of Akash Deep then?
Yeah, just do that. No. I mean, why? I mean that. So, I mean, this is. They are. I mean, I think that basically, I don't know if Gambhir wants to play four tailenders. I also don't know whether Rohit Sharma wants to play 4 tailenders. I think Rohit Sharma wants to win all the time, but I don't know that if he. I mean, I mean, it is a sort of a trait of most batting captains that they usually want, as much bowl batting as possible, and I think that basically the view taken by Shastri and by David is something not the majority view. I mean, it is not, because I think everyone understands it in theory, but in practice, at the end of the day, these are still selection teams. No, these are not franchises. There is a element of pride and respectability and all that.
Yeah, but why don't we? But perhaps they don't want to risk that 150 all out in the first innings, which is likely with 4 tailenders, no? So that is.
But but the 4 fast bowlers still give them a chance of bowling the opposition out for 200, 225. They're still in the game. I don't understand why is it so difficult to understand that conceding runs, those are also runs.
Yeah, but clearly, I don't know.
People don't mind conceding 474 as opposed to 300. That's 175 extra runs. Whereas people would mind terribly, if you bowled out for 150 instead of 300, even though that's only 150 runs. This is not an argument about being competitive. This is an argument about not being humiliated, and that's dependent on some random, assumptions about what constitutes humiliation. I mean, I think they have to. I think they're there to win, and to win you have to compete, and to compete you have to be efficient. And in Test cricket, that means you have to have a side designed to take 20 wickets as cheaply as possible. After that, whatever places are remaining, you put batsmen. Fine, you find the best batters you have, and you put them in whatever order. It doesn't make much of a difference. They're going to make more or less the same number of runs as any other.
Look at it this way, man. From 299 for 6, Australia went to 474. That is like 175 extra.
Yeah, and 99.
From 91 for 6 to 234, that's 145 runs extra. So 145 plus 175 is what? 320 runs extra by the last 4 wickets each time. That's like humongous amount of runs to cover, man. I mean, if that is not a clear indicator that you have to strengthen your bowling, that your bowling is giving 320 runs.
Even India did something similar, man. I mean, come on, the lower order is scoring. It's not like India.
Yeah.
I mean,
No. India, hold on, wait 1 second. There's a difference. India designed their squad so that their lower order can score runs. Australia have not done that.
I mean, Australia also don't have to make the trade-offs that India do, because Cummins.
They have Cummins and Stark who can, exactly.
That's another
come on,
reason
man.
why they're a great side. No, I mean,
Cummins and Stark, I agree, but Nathan Lyon and Boland batted like 130 balls, man. That is like crazy.
Yeah, but that
means that your bowling needs
completely exhausted at that time, and
and
all the fast bowlers are exhausted by then.
So you're basically having no bowling. No, that is a clear indicator that your bowling is lacking. No, the trade-off that.
And let's not. And there's this whole thing about Nitish Kumar Reddy can hold an end up. He can't. He just doesn't have the control to hold an end up. I mean,
has he bowled that many overs this series to hold ends up?
He's not a bowler.
I mean, he's probably more equipped to be a number 6 specialist batter than an all-rounder.
I mean, he's basically taken Sarfaraz Khan's spot right now.
Correct. Yeah, and that's fine. If they want to play him as a batter, I'm fine. And actually, this test, Reddy was totally fine because he was anyway 6th bowler.
Look, Reddy has bowled 210 balls in this series in 7 innings. That's like 30 balls per in an innings. He gives you 5 overs, dude. And basically, that is not bowling. No, that you can. Our guy Rohit Sharma has a hat trick in IPL. He could have bowled 5 overs. And Washington Sundar, despite being called, a specialist spinner, like 4 innings, he has bowled like 216 balls. That's like 9 overs. So together, if you add these two guys, 14 overs an innings, which is what like a Nathan Lyon will give you.
It's less than what.
In fact, has Washington Sundar and Jadeja, have they held up an? I think they can hold up an if needed. So
Jadeja has bowled like 20 overs per innings.
Yeah, but they
balls
can't really threaten. No, I mean they're finger spinners. There's nothing for them in here.
No, I mean I'm bringing all this up because we call Nitish Reddy an all-rounder. You can't be bowling 5 overs in an innings and be an all-rounder, man. Yeah. People will immediately say, no, Marsh also bowls that many only. Like he bowls like what?
But Marsh is not. It's not like Marsh is doing well. No, I mean nobody's saying Marsh is doing well. Marsh is going to be dropped.
In fact, Marsh, they're calling for his dropping.
Yeah.
And if Cameron Green is fit, Marsh will be dropped.
Yeah. If Green is around, Marsh is not going to play.
Yeah. No, I mean, see, Ashoka, all this bowling line and all, you cannot design, you cannot have a bowling attack to take care of number 10 and 11. These guys should be getting them out anyway.
I'm saying the design of this team is, by the time you bowl like 100 overs and get to these guys, your bowlers are tired, man, and the ball is old, man. And the second you bowl also, after 30 overs, it gets old.
And come on, even Cummins, Australia playing 4 bowlers, even they will get tired, no? It's not like...
But they keep getting wickets, no? That's the problem. That is the point. They keep getting wickets somehow. They keep getting wickets faster. It's a combination of luck and skill, man. Australians got like 5-6 wickets in the first 40 overs. India got 1. What to do? You can't... That is not... in anybody's control, not in Australia's control, not in India's control. That's not a design. You design for the most likely outcome. Like if you have 4 bowlers, you can get wickets. If they don't get wickets, then that's fine. No, you accept it.
I'm just flipping the script here, and I'm saying when Reddy and Washington are batting, or when Bumrah and Akash Deep are batting, I don't think Australia is thinking, we should have played a 5th bowler. They are thinking, why are these? We have enough bowling, right? So I'm flipping it there. So that's also true. Of course, they are better. I accept. They are much more experienced. They are, Cummins, Stark and all are great bowlers.
Yeah, man. One guy has 360 wickets. Stark has 350, 360. Cummins is going to get 300 wickets. Lyon has 500. Hazelwood, who's been injured, he has like 250. And Boland, he was born for this condition. So he's like that Akshar Patel in that England series that we had. He might not have had much wickets, but he is, designed for these conditions. So where is the outlet for runs? And these guys counter that by just lengthening our batting lineup and saying that our top order doesn't work. I will be... See, the comedy will be if Sydney takes any amount of turn past, the day 3, and these guys would drop one of Jadeja and Washington Sundar and are short of 1 spinner. That will be even more comical.
Yeah, Damien Fleming did mention briefly on commentary that it's been quite a hot summer there, and he says he's saying the pitch could crack up and could take spin. But who knows? That we'll have to wait and watch. But yeah, I mean, okay, after all this, but I think we should talk a bit about the batting anyway, even though we have mentioned how it is very batting centric. I mean, we can talk about bowling also. I mean, Bumrah, Cummins. But I'm saying the individual performances in this match. Steve Smith, I thought, played a fantastic knock. I mean, easily forgotten because it was way back on day one. But batted really well. And of course, Cummins and held up the lower order.
Everybody they said should be retiring or are too old or hand-eye coordination is gone or should go to first-class cricket. Everybody that they said, Khwaja, Labuschagne, Smith, all scored runs. When did they score runs? When they got lucky and Indians didn't pick that many wickets in the first 40 overs, they scored runs. I'm 100% sure it is the same with Kohli, Rahul, Rohit Sharma, everybody. Though people disagree about Rohit Sharma, but on a year where he has actually scored like 200-300s, this is like, I mean, this is bad luck, man. This guy is going through some enormous.
I mean, his last 10 innings, though. I mean, there is a little bit of a sample size increasing there.
Yeah. After that Bangladesh second innings 50, I think he after that famous intent setting 22 of something 11 balls or whatever. He's not. After that, everything against New Zealand and everything here is like failure only.
India rarely sacked their test captain. Now, the last time they did it was like Ganguly in 2005. And that was after a prolonged spell of bad form in a very, very good batting era. Every team had batters averaging, multiple batters averaging 50 plus, and Ganguly is averaging 34.
Yeah, that was also after a public sort of stoush with the coach, and a lot of things happened.
There are a lot of things, but I mean, I think all those public things are a symptom of the basic.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, if he was batting well, Chappell wouldn't have gone to him and said, "Drop him."
Exactly. I mean, that is the basic question here. I mean, but it didn't really matter whether Ganguly batted for India or somebody else, or Yuvraj Singh batted in his place. No, that was not going to change whether they were going to win more or less or not. And that was going to change a few runs here and there per test match. And that's not really...
But you can't say, right? It's the same way, right? KD, you're saying...
Of course you can say.
No, I know. What I'm saying, KD, is that just like you're saying, Prasid, having an extra bowler has second order effects. Having a batter who is...
It doesn't.
Could also...
It doesn't have the same second order effect. It doesn't have the same second order effect. Because whether Ganguly makes runs or not doesn't make a difference to whether other batters make runs or not. That still depends on whether, because it's not like the other batters get tired after batting for 20 overs. Whereas the other bowlers do get tired if they have to keep bowling every 45 minutes, as opposed to being able to bowl every hour and 20 minutes or something like that. So yeah,
I mean, batting does happen in partnerships, though. I mean, it's not like batting.
It doesn't. Yeah, that batting happens in partnerships. That's like just a function of the laws of the game, man. You have to have two batters, one on the striker, one on non-striker side. That's not. It's not. There is no symmetry here. The symmetry is basically completely wrong. To presume that the symmetry is wrong. It doesn't matter who you play. I mean, Pakistan dropped Babar Azam. Then the new guy came, he made 100. No, I mean, India tried so many different players this year. Padikkal made runs against England. Patidar, they tried, it didn't come off. Fine. Sarfaraz made runs against New Zealand. Sarfaraz also made runs against England.
No, but here's the deal. If it doesn't matter, then technically what you're saying is if Gill plays instead of Rohit Sharma, it shouldn't matter, right?
It shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make India more or less likely to win. Whereas,
But I think the problem is you cannot do that because Rohit Sharma is a captain.
yeah,
So
but
it is highly.
those are all things which are created by people who worry about those things. I don't really care whether he plays or not. I mean, he's not going to be any less or any more of a player just because he doesn't play one test match. Who cares? Virat Kohli not making runs is basically costing. It's not. It doesn't matter. It's not like some guy is going to replace Virat Kohli in the average 80. They have this guy, Nitish Kumar Reddy, who's batting they evidently rate because they are picking him. They picked him and they picked him and they picked him and they picked him. Every opportunity they got on this tour, they picked him. And they've been proven right. They clearly think he's not a number 8 batsman. They clearly think he's a proper batter, and that he's got something special about him. Like he's got a little bit of time to play his shots. He's got good judgment on length, etc., etc. And this is not an ordinary attack he's playing. I mean, Cummins with the old ball is still Pat Cummins, And okay, Cummins makes all batters look very, very uncomfortable, but that's fine. Reddy is still surviving. He's not. He clearly doesn't have a problem playing fast bowling. He's able to keep up with the pace comfortably. He's. I mean, we don't know how good he is against spin because he has hardly played. I mean, these wickets are not really a test for him from that point of view. But these are not ordinary bowlers. They do think he's good, so they have played him. No. It's the same with Rohit Sharma. I mean, Rohit Sharma has so much time to play, and that's actually one interesting thing about him. He does seem to have lost a little bit of that recently. I'm not convinced that it's because of age, even though he's definitely heavier than he was 4 years ago. I think it's because of the way he's changed his white ball batting. Because previously his white ball batting, especially early on, he didn't really slog. He didn't really, try to manufacture shots early, the first 20, 25 overs of a one-day innings or in the first, he only did that in T20 occasions. That was very infrequent. But since he became captain, since 2022, he has changed the way he sets up for the against the white ball, the new white ball. I think that has brought a change in his trigger and in his footwork and in just the way he opens himself up and just in his eagerness to put bat to ball. I think that has changed. He's not letting. He seems to have lost that little bit of timing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think the second innings dismissal sort of speaks to that.
Previously, he used to have so much time. He used to have picked the length, and he used to be in position, and he used to be waiting to receive the ball. Like even when Pat Cummins bowling 145 Ks, he would play like a forward defense, like he was playing a spinner. And at his peak, like in 2020, 21, 20, even a little bit of 22, he was like playing that way. Even 19, even before he became captain, he was playing like that. And actually that was already evident in his one-day batting. It was already evident that he was much happier against the new ball, and so I think that was one of the reasons why they moved him up. But he does. I don't know. He has lost that, and I mean, it's probably going to take some work for him to get it back. And I don't know if that work is feasible right now. So all that is there.
I was speaking of dismissals. The dismissal that warrants a jail sentence.
Oh,
and
stupid.
Wait, that one or the second one?
Both of them.
Both. The first one was stupid. The second one was like criminal. Jail. Straight away. Jail.
I don't know. I think the first one was, I think Rishabh Pant has this theory that he needs he needs to hit the bowler off his length. It is not, and sometimes I think that, but firstly, he that is the way he plays. He takes chances.
But the situation, KD, situation.
Yeah, but that's what taking chances means. No, I mean the There is no situation in which if
These guys didn't see GABA or what? They Star Sports plays GABA like for every 40 minutes.
Yeah, and like Nathan Lyon, Pant keeps running down to Nathan Lyon, and there's stumping missed, there's a catch dropped, all sorts of things happened, man. I mean, it's not like it's not that this idea that a risk which doesn't come off is a bad risk. I mean, I think what Pant is thinking about the Travis Head dismissal is that he should have hit it for 6. And he's right, he should have hit it for 6. I mean, the thing is, he did it, he tried to hit it for 6. He didn't try to hit it for 4. He failed.
Yeah, you're missing an important 2-word phrase here. Game awareness. That is
what a situation is, man. It is called situation. So simply way, situation. Understand the situation and bat.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing about this, and I agree. I agree that the fault there was that it didn't go for 6. Rishabh Pant should have hit that for 6. That long hop.
Yeah, it was a long hop
tracker from Travis Head, who is a part-timer. But I'll tell you what. Even just before that dismissal, there was like times in which this fellow was leaving balls that he would normally crack for 4. He was leaving it outside off.
Yeah.
So I was actually surprised with that. I was saying, this guy is actually like giving Travis Head so much respect. And then, of course, he didn't give him respect and he got him. But I mean, Rishabh Pant is, you see, the thing is, I was telling someone recently, if you want the greatness of Rishabh Pant, you're going to get all this. You're going to get that first innings dismissal. You're going to get this.
Look,
you don't get once in a generation talent without getting this kind of dismissals.
One way to think about it. Rishabh Pant gets out once every 57 balls in Test cricket. He averages 41 or 42, something like that. So his average innings is 42 in 57 balls. He scores very quickly, right? And in this innings, he survived 103 balls, which is sort of, nearly not quite 2 standard deviations away from the average, but close. This is the whole, fallacy in microcosm. The expectation that you have from the batters versus the expectation that you have from the bowler. The fallacy is that if the batting needs shoring up, that's always a good idea. But if the bowling needs shoring up, well, what's the future in that? Whereas the competitive fact is that it's exactly the opposite. There's always a future in shoring up the bowling. Especially if you have a candidate. And in this generation, India do have candidates. I mean, Akash Deep is a damn good bowler, and Siraj is a really good bowler, and Bumrah is an all-time great bowler, and the next best guy is still going to be a very good bowler.
Okay, we had a comment in our last podcast saying that we don't talk about Bumrah enough. So
how many pods have we talked about Bumrah, man? And I don't even understand that guy anymore, man. At this point he's going to
Bumrah.
At this point, he should be broken into several pieces and they should be carrying him out of Australia in bag.
Miraculous control of length. Unmatched. I mean, Pat Cummins has got magnificent control of length. I mean, I think Jasprit Bumrah has at least as good control, if not better control of length than Pat Cummins.
Bumrah is like miles better than Pat Cummins. I'll tell you how. Konstas hit Bumrah for a 6. He's called the savior of Test cricket in Australia. Akash Deep hit Cummins for a 6. Nobody even cares. Nobody even remembers that anymore.
I mean, I don't know how closely you follow music, but in music, there's this whole, especially in our Indian classical music, there's this whole command to improvise. That you have to. It is an improvisational art. It is not sheet music, right? So you get rhythm cycles, and over each rhythm cycle you have to improvise. And like Zakir say, died recently. The absolute apex skill in that art is every idea you can think of as a musician, you should be able to actually perform it. And the reason Zakir Hussain was like sui generis is that he could do that faster and better and, apparently more effortlessly than any other tabla player. And this was also the case with like Ali Akbar Khan or Kishore Yamonkar or any of these really, really genius musicians. And it's like that with Jasprit Bumrah.
No, but I mean, the second innings spell that Bumrah bowled, we've seen
madness.
Probably
madness.
every.
No, I'm telling you the first innings after the 40 overs when they were like 2 for 200, he bowled a spell where he removed Travis Head and Marsh, I think.
It's like this.
Crazy spell, man.
Yeah,
that was.
It was. And that's not the only one. Like there's a spell like that even in the first innings of this match. There's a spell like that in both innings in Brisbane. There's a spell like that at Perth.
Yeah. That's what Sidney was saying in our chats. No.
And now it's like they know what he's going to do, and he does it, and they still don't know. They can't do anything about it. I mean, the range of things he faces is nothing like the range of things they faced in the 80s. Nobody was trying to baseball Joel Garner, or Balkamash. Maybe sometime in one-day cricket, late in his career, Mart Great Patch or, Srikanth or somebody may have tried it. But in a test match with a new ball, nobody was trying that. Nobody tried it against Ambrose for that matter. But they are trying it against Cummins and Bumrah, and these guys are still bowling into those whirlwinds and they're still getting wickets like crazy. Rabada is another one, but Bumrah is something else. I mean, that it's like he's like a genie. He's really like a genie. You make a wish and he demonstrates.
Look at this in our second innings. Okay, Australia, I'm just looking at the score. Australia 185 runs ahead. They've lost 3 wickets, and then he comes back for that spell where he first gets Travis Head. You can say, okay, that ball, it was flicked to the fielder and all. Okay, but he gets that in the second ball of that spell. And then that ball to Marsh, the lift that he gets out of that pitch, it's a 34-over ball, that kind of lift that he gets, and then he gets carried pretty much a couple of overs after that with an absolute dream ball.
That carry dismissal in the second innings and Travis had dismissal in the first innings. That's just unfair, dude. That's just, I don't know how even to play. As a batsman, how will you even play that? Because this guy has been taking it away for so long, and precision.
He's also hard to pick, because of his action.
Yeah.
So batsmen have that little fraction of a second less to pick it. Now the thing is, even after batters play him for a number of matches, they're not sort of getting better at picking it.
After getting that Head, Marsh and Carey, he bowls this over to Labuschagne, man. And it was he could have gotten some 4 times in that over. I remember that over. Labuschagne was batting pretty well in that match. But this is those scenes in Tom and Jerry cartoons, right? Where Tom is just catching Jerry and Jerry's running away. He's catching Jerry, Jerry's running away. It's like that. This guy is just toying with him, man. I can't believe how a bowler can just absolutely have the batsman in such trouble.
And that batsman is Labuschagne.
Labuschagne is laughing, man. It's almost like Labuschagne by the end of it, he's like, okay, thank you. I don't know what else to say. He's just laughing. So, yeah. And I don't know, but the way Australians were celebrating at the end.
I have not seen them. Dude, they won the World Cup. And there were 2 people welcoming Pat Cummins back to the airport. Now they have won 2 tests against India. They're this is a greatest thing that has happened to Australia since Australia itself.
Yeah, it was remarkable to see. And I was actually telling someone, I was like, what happened? They're so happy And then I'm like, yeah, I mean, they are, because, they've lost to, forget losing to Perth. That's one thing, but the quality that they've been up against in the last 6 years, the 6 to 10 years. I mean, to look at it, they haven't won the Border Gavaskar Trophy since 2015, man. I mean, that's quite a long time for an Australian team.
You and I are probably the only two, or maybe there are 20 more Indians who have noticed that. The rest are all crying, how humiliating. They are not seeing how rejoiced the opposition are, right? How happy the opposition is. That should tell you how strong your team is, man. What humiliating.
Listen, I read quite a bit of the Australian media after this test, and they are placing this victory as one of the greatest Australian test victories ever. Okay, so there is something to be said about that, about the opposition, when people are looking at it that way. So yeah, I mean, absolute.
It is not. I mean, look, think about how people in India reacted to that 2001 series. I mean, the Australians were at that time 15 consecutive test wins and all that. They were a great team. And yeah, if you compete against a team which has bothered you, which has beaten you, then yeah, it's a great thing. Fans like it. I mean, Australia, okay, when Australia always win the Ashes in Australia, right? Like they blow teams away. I mean, since the 80s, it's like by the time the third test comes along, Australia already either retained the Ashes or won them, but that's a different kind of thing. That's like a historic rivalry going on for 100 and something years. But this is different. This is interest because, they are playing a team which has beaten them recently. That's a different kind of thing. That's like what they used to feel about the West Indies, in the 80s. And of course, that lasted long. That lasted whatever. I mean, since the end of Packer to about 1996, 97. Actually, 94, 95, right? When they
went and won.
Yeah. So, but this is also going on for nearly a decade now. I mean, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and now this is 24, 25. This is the fifth series that they're trying to win.
And the stunning bit is the series is still alive. Like, I mean, the BGT Border Gavaskar Trophy is still alive.
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I mean, I think India. I think India have a very good chance in Sydney.
Provided they play.
If you had told India early in the series that you will go to Sydney 2-1 down, they would have probably taken it. So there is that. I mean, they got away in Brisbane thanks to rain. They made the best of their conditions in Perth, and Bumrah basically showed his class. And then you come to Melbourne, and you go to Sydney now. I mean, Adelaide, they were always up against it with that pink ball.
So who knows, man? If they batted another 12 overs here, just 12 overs, it would have still been 1-1. And
the luck will turn a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
In Australia, I've had a lot.
Yeah, anyway, so we will surely speak more about all these players after the next test and going ahead. So please remember that even though we might not have touched upon something here, we will definitely get back to it at some point. There's only so much time we have, and so much happened in this test, and it's hard to pick every single thing. We will definitely do a review of the Sydney test, and then that'll also include a bit of a overall series review, and of course we'll continue to talk about this going forward. Thank you so much for joining, Ashoka, Kartikeya. Thanks for all our listeners. Thanks for all the comments you're sending in, both on our website and on Spotify and on X and wherever else you're sending it. We read all your comments, and even though we may not address all of them, we definitely keep them in mind, and we will bring them up over time. You can subscribe and review our podcast. That will really help. If you like it, please leave a rating and a review. That helps people find us. We also have published 3 works of cricket literature, republished cricket books. So we can, I'll put a link to them. You can pick it up. War Minus the Shooting, Cricket Beyond the Bazaar, and the Summer Game. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to the Sydney Test. And good night and take care.
India have won the series. They're going to get back for two.